he doesn't go on Rightmove or online pages. But you also knocked this building down. The walls are quite damaged.
I wouldn't be doing this for less than £1 billion.
Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Property Investing with Claudius Vertesi. We are here today with one of my new friends. His name is
Anthony Laville.
And he's been in property for pretty much 5 years. He had a letting agency for 9 years. And he's developing now a really cool project in Birmingham. Anthony, why don't you explain us where we are and what we have here?
We're at Volume Hanley right now, so this is my student accommodation development site. We've demolished the building that's been here. I originally done a deal on the building, got planning permission, and now we're just in the process of getting the build done. It's taken quite a while to get planning permission and sort out the rest of it. We've had some delays, we've had some party wall issues. That's all just part of the game when you're doing things at this size. So this is the first phase that you can see here. So this is phase 1, and phase 2 is next door, which is in planning. And in total we're looking at in the region of 120 plus beds. This one here is 47 beds, so the value of this one once it's built, so the gross development value GDV is circa 5.5, just over 5.5 mil.
Yeah, so you found the land and then you got an option on it?
Exactly, I got an option agreement. So this option agreement allowed me to a period of time to get planning.
Yeah.
I got planning and then bought the site. So happy days. Planning took a long time, it's quite challenging. Do you want to come and see it? Do you want to
sure. Let's have a look at it. So, but you also knocked this building down. There was a big building, and you knocked it down.
Demolished that a couple of months back. So we once we demolished it, we did some ground investigations.
What are the other buildings around it? Like this
office, mixture of office and light industrial. So the neighbouring buildings are pretty much office, like commercial buildings.
Are they fully let?
They're all let. They're occupied. They're all occupied. So it's a bit of an infill site, really.
Why did you choose this location for your student accommodation?
I'm one of the first movers. Aston University is pretty much less than 10 minutes walk away. There's other student accommodation here. If you look over in the distance, you'll probably pan it.
Yeah.
You see the building up there sticking out?
Yeah, this building?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The new one. That's just got finished this year, just got built, 500 beds of student accommodation. So the area's already started to change a bit. And so although it looks quite industrial now, there's planning applications in, there's a lot going on. There's another site over there that I've got.
Yeah.
That one there, the car park.
Do you also own the car park?
I don't. I've got an option on that.
An option.
So I'm basically trying to do deals. So the way you do it is it's about trying to de-risk it. Planning is quite a bureaucratic, red tape, very expensive, a long-winded process. So there's a lot of money involved in doing that. And to try and de-risk it, it's about trying to get options in place, option agreements that allow you to get the planning first rather than buying the land first. I don't want to pay £500,000 for a piece of land, spend 100 grand on planning and realise that it's no good for me. I'd rather spend 100 grand and then spend £500,000 if I get planning. So that's what it's about. So I've got a few of these around here. For me, it's a good location to invest in. It's pretty much done around here. There's not much left, but it's the next natural area for me because right on the periphery, outskirts of this main core city centre. It's next to the uni. Good location. There's some more big buildings there. That's a big one there. That's building 1,000 bed student accommodation. 1,000.
Is it this one up there?
Yeah, almost 1,000.
Huge. Do you worry about competition? They build 1,000 bed and then you have yours here?
No, I think I'm all about pushing a great brand and customer experience, student experience, tenant experience. I can do things, and I've been letting a long time, I can do things to stand out as a provider. So those guys don't really worry me. Even when it comes down to the design, I purposefully, when doing this scheme, I've made sure the studios that we put in and the room sizes are a lot bigger than the competition.
Yeah.
So whereas the competition have studios as small as 16 square meters.
Yeah, you make yours more attractive, basically.
More attractive, bigger, nicer. They're going to get a better experience, better customer service. They're going to feel wanted. They're going to love being there. So I don't really worry about too much of that. It's a consideration, but I don't worry about it. It just makes us do our job a lot better.
What's your plan for the car park? So you have an option on this? What are you building over there?
We're probably going to go, it's looking like another student scheme, a small boutique kind of student scheme. We tried to do a co-living scheme, but it's looking a bit more challenging. So the projects I'm working on now are a lot bigger outside of this, just because there's more economies there and efficiencies in operating a bigger scheme.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Okay, so my camera battery died, so I'm using my iPhone.
Oh, that's cool, with the 3 cameras.
Yeah, so here we see other buildings and you can see the walls are quite damaged. Is there any problems and how do you deal with this?
Yeah, so we've got a problem. The building here already has some pre-existing issues. You can see that the arches have failed. There's some other cracks around the building. So there's there's a pre-existing issue there. Once we pulled our building away, we saw that and informed the owner, so they're sorting that out. There's another building over there that was built against our building more than 12 years ago. So sadly, we've got to take responsibility for that. So we've got to do a bit of underpinning there. And that's it. It's just the two buildings. So it's not great, but this is part of the problems you have when you're building against neighbouring properties. When you can have part-of-wall issues.
So you make them fix it and then pay for it?
Well, yes, it's already their problem.
Yeah.
All we did was we just took our building down, and it was like, oh shit, look what's there. There's something we've exposed. A problem that I think to be fair, I think they knew about that problem. Yeah, of course. Doing that, and then you come over here, walk down here.
Do you know what this building is?
This one here.
Yeah.
This is the one that you looked at when I said it's 1,000 bed.
Yeah. So they're building 1,000 bedrooms.
Yeah, just under. Big scheme there. And the university is just here. So you can see how close it is. This is actually the planning office, funnily enough.
This is the planning office?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are now on another site of Anthony's. You own the land, right?
Yeah.
And what are you building on there?
So at the moment we've got planning permission for 68 student flats.
68 student flats on here. What are the buildings?
Buildings, one next door was a hotel. It was an industrial building, they converted it to a hotel. And over there is just a piece of land, so we're sort of sitting in the middle again. 68 flats, 7.2 mil GDV, student accommodation. We're going back into planning. We may be getting some more, a couple more flats, but we'll see. But at the moment, we've got full planning. We've got a contractor lined up to do the work. So all things are just, they're going to start kicking off over the next few months. But there's been delays on this one. It's just, it's a very interesting business to be in.
What about the apartments on this side?
I don't know. It's just like a retirement village. It's a retirement village. Pulling these deals together, they're not straightforward. And oftentimes you've got to assemble multiple sites together. If it was up to me over here, I would have assembled probably 4 or 5 different plots here and done one larger scheme, but it's just not possible. Some of the deals are already done. Other owners aren't willing to sell, or they're not in the market for selling, or they're letting, or they're operating their business out of there, so there's no interest in selling. Deals are a big limiting factor in trying to scale. I'd say deals are number one. Finding a great deal is the most challenging bit. Once you've done that, then you can.
Would you pay a deal sourcer?
100%, always. I work with deal sources now. Deal sources are valuable. Some of them send you absolute rubbish, or send you deals that have been going around a long time, or they're not direct to the vendor. They're like person number 3 down in the line. So you've got to make sure.
The interesting about Anthony is he doesn't go on Rightmove or online pages. He drives around, and then you find the address through the land registry or the company. Then he sends them a letter, and then you contact them direct. So it's like off market, and by just driving around and just seeing those lands, and then he looks at the buildings around it, and then based on what's around it, he assumes what he could get planning for and what kinds of properties could be built on there.
With the help of professionals,
the
architect,
architect,
and maybe a planning consultant, structure engineer. So get a few people's input first. But it's about de-risking it, trying to work out, look, what can I get here? What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? You don't want to overshoot it and overpay, because oftentimes, a deal is made or broken all at the beginning. What's the input? What did you pay? And that often determines the success of the deal, even if you're going straight through to the end to develop it out. What
do you prefer? Do you prefer finding a site and then getting planning, or finding something with planning already?
If it was up to me, I'd find a site with planning. I wouldn't want to go through the planning process.
Although the big uplift. I mean,
I'd want a site with planning that was a good deal. I'd rather a site with planning that's a great deal than having to find a site and get planning myself. The reason why you find a site and get planning yourself, because you'd get a better deal.
Yeah.
You get a better deal when you've found a site. You get planning. Generally, you should be paying less than what it's actually worth with planning, because you've taken the planning risk.
Yeah.
So you should quite rightly be paying less. So that's the only reason why I do that, because I get a bigger uplift. Yes, that's true.
Just by getting the planning, just the paper push, the waiting through this. What's your goal? Do you want to tell them your goal for the next 10 years, and then ultimately, what's your goal, Anthony?
I'm not going to share my ultimate goal. I'll share it with you.
Yeah.
As I've said this before in a couple of interviews I've had, I wouldn't be doing this for less than £1 billion in
equity.
Well, property equity would be.
Yeah.
Less than and eventually yes, in the billions. I don't really like putting it out there because I don't like the bad energy that comes off when you don't meet someone that agrees with that. Certainly looking to do big deals. I'm doing larger deals now. My smaller deals now range from 5 million gross development value up to sort of 25 million.
Yeah.
The ones that are in the pipeline are much bigger than that, closer to 30 million plus. So it's about scaling it, doing bigger deals. I've got a board of directors that I've put together now.
Yeah, so what he's doing is very, very smart. What he's doing is he's finding people like a CFO, COO, very senior people. He finds them on LinkedIn, and then he forms an SPV, so a company with them, and rather than paying them, he gives them equity. So you are the CEO, you keep about 80% of the equity, and then the rest of the equity, he gives them a percentage of the equity, meaning you make them invested in the deal, and they get paid on the back end, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm doing there, so I've brought some experienced people to the table to go out and tackle bigger projects. It's not something I do often. It's more about I've done it now to take my company organization to the next level. So it's about finding the right experienced people. They're getting some great projects to work on and getting a lot for it. So it's pretty interesting.
So ultimately, you want to own the properties for the long term. You want to own at least over £1 billion of equity, and for the long term. So let me ask you this, Anthony. Why do you want to build them? Why do you want to build all of them? Why don't you just buy big assets, like big properties, and just refurbish them? Why bother getting the land, getting the planning? Why not just buy a big block of flats or a big commercial deal? It's already running. Like, why bother with this?
Right now, the way the market is, the build cost is a lot cheaper. There's a lot more money to make to build a property than buy a property that's currently operational or currently ongoing. So I'd rather now strategy, and it's been like this for a while. It's about finding land, building out. You take the development risk, but you make more money, so there's more profit in it. But there's a lot more risk attached to that. I'm not against operational assets. If there's a good deal out there that's already operational and it has tenants, then I'll do the deal. Otherwise, priority is on building out, because there's a lot more profit to be made. There is more risk, but there's a lot more profit, and they're good calculated risks. Doing the properties that are in good location and de-risking it as much as possible.
Okay, guys, so we just finished looking at some more development sites with Anthony. I learned so much from him. He's been doing property investing for 5 years, and you have a letting agency. You had one for nine.
Yeah, that was 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
And actual investing started 5 years ago.
Yeah, and he's doing massive projects. So I literally can't wait to come back in a few weeks or in a few months and catch up on the progress on all the developments. Once they're done, there's going to be massive cash flow for you.
Yeah.
And so he's in Birmingham. I'm going to be more in Manchester, Liverpool, Warrington. So thanks very much, Anthony.
Hey, pleasure.
Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the ring bell, comment down below any questions you have maybe for Anthony. Honestly, there's so many more things I could ask this guy hours and hours, and he just...
Hey, we spent hours together. It's been good.
Yeah. So comment down below any questions. Smash the like button. Really helps the YouTube algorithm. And what's your YouTube?
Anthony Laville. ANTHONY.
Yeah, I'm gonna link him in the description. You can check him out.
Nice.
On his channel, he goes more in depth about his projects. So really, really exciting, inspiring guy. Super ambitious. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.